Good morning. My name is Brian Newman. I'm the Fire Behavior Analyst for Incident Management Team 3. My role on the fire is to analyze the fire activity and provide information to the crews to give them an idea of where the fire is going, what kind of activity they can expect, and allow them to base their plans on the actions that we project and give them the idea of how they can build their plans on that. So going over today's map, we have our newest infrared imagery overlaid on the map here, give us an idea where the fire went last night, and we'll kind of talk about what activities we can expect to see today. We're starting down over in the far west side of the fire near the national park. We're expecting a wind shift today, and so the activity that we had saw over the last couple of days where the fire was pushing off to the west and southwest will be turning around a little bit, and unfortunately what that's going to allow to do is some of the spot fires that were out ahead of the fire, they're going to start being picked up a little bit in activity just because of that fresh wind that's going to come in and give it a little bit of renewed energy in there. And so we expect that this is going to stand up a little bit, start to have some build in there, and we'll start to see more activity in here. Fortunately, though, that with that wind, it will start to push it back in on itself and should limit the overall movement to the south and the west. Coming up into the national park area, this is a really rugged area, steep terrain, really heavy fuels, and there's a bit of fire history out here ahead of it in the old Reading fire scar where it's starting to progress towards. So we expect that today we're going to start to see some of that activity pick up in there as well. Just because it is such high elevation, we're going to see the thinning smoke in that part earlier today, and that wind change start to affect that area sooner. So expect to see some activity start to pick up over there and some smoke columns start to come off of that part today and potentially start progressing up to the north and to the east as that wind starts to settle over the fire today. Coming over on the north side of the fire towards Highway 44, A21, in that area, Silver Lake, things are looking pretty good in there. There is still a bit of energy left in there. The heavy fuels are still burning out, and our imagery is still showing that there is quite a bit of heat left in there. So we expect that at some point today, as that smoke thins out, it's going to start having some smoke columns come out of there as well, and a little bit of activity. So we're really concerned about the spotting potential, and that's the embers being thrown outside the fire line and really where that could go. So that's one of the things we really briefed the crews on today, is that potential for that spotting to occur. Coming down on the A21 road, things are looking really well. Our heat signatures are much less than they have been. There will be some interior burning today, and we may see some smoke columns come out of there, but overall, there's no real threats to the line in here, nothing that's really gonna make any large challenges to the line, and so we expect that will continue burning today, but it should not progress any further than it already has. Down here on Dyer Mountain area, we did have a spot fire in there yesterday evening, and we expect, because of that southwest flow across the lake here, that it's going to give it a little bit of renewed energy in there, but it should again progress to the northeast, and that's kind of back in on itself, and so that's going to be advantageous for us. And so expect to see some activity in there as well, and some progression of the fire, but we do have a lot of control lines in there, so I don't expect that it's going to necessarily challenge the lines, but there will be renewed activity in that area. On the other side of Mountain Meadows Reservoir, in our Duffy Group area on top of Hamilton Mountain, there are some burning operations going on in there today, and we again expect to see some smoke columns in there and some progression of the fire. Tomorrow's map's going to look different, just be based on the actions that they have planned today. But overall, we don't expect any major challenges to the line in that area, but we will expect to see some progression of the fire, some smoke columns coming up. There is some potential for spot fires across there, but we do have a large fire scar just north of this area in the hog fire area. So that's our plan for that area, and that's what our projections are. It shouldn't make any big moves, but you will see some activity pop up in that area overall. Coming over here to the far southeast side of the fire, Janesville area, the fire had progressed to the southwest under that wind that we had the last couple of days. But as that starts to shift around today, that will start to kind of push back in on itself and start to slow that spread. Again, you'll see some progression on the fire tomorrow on our new map tomorrow, but ideally, and like I said, it's pushing back in on itself. You will see some smoke columns out of there, and the fuel does change over there. So it is under some heavy timber, but as it gets closer to 395, it thins out into the grass, into the sage. So it provides opportunities for the crews to get in there a little easier than it did in the heavier timber. So there are a handful of spot fires out there that are ahead of this that may stand up today and start to show themselves. But again, that activity is going to primarily really push back in on the main fire while we're looking ahead to the very southeast corner, making sure that it is secured so that it doesn't make any large runs that way. But that's an area that we're watching, as well as over to the west of that, over by Antelope Lake in that Quebec area. They did have some activity in there, and we expect that you'll start to see some smoke columns in there as well today as that smoke thins out. The activity starts to pick up, and shouldn't make any large runs in there, but again, we'll expect some activity overall. So all across the fire, we do have that wind shift going on today, so that's our biggest concern in what's going to happen with the fire activity. Really brief the crews on that difference today. So expect to see some continued activity all across the fire, but that smoke at some point should start to clear out, if not today, then by some point tomorrow, depending on how much we get impacted from fires off to our west. But that's our biggest mitigating factor. If we keep the smoke over the fire, our fire activity will be diminished a bit. So that's where our situation is as it stands.